Good evening and thanks for joining me here in the newsroom. Queenstown's multi-million-dollar Walter Peak tourist resort is in the news again. Michael Lynch reports.
Hard on the heels of the high-flying tourist company going to receivership, the complex's 90-year-old wool shed burned to the ground on Saturday. It's not known yet how the fire started, but there was little hope of saving it and the tens of thousands of dollars of tourist merchandise inside. It was a blow for the resort's manager, if not without its wry side.
Looks like wool doesn't burn. Hey? It's a good ad for wool.
The wool shed was a focal point for the resort's daily tourist trips. These are continuing, however. The resort's receivers are confident the latest setback hasn't put a damper on plans to find a buyer for Walter Peak. A tentative agreement's been signed with a prospective purchaser, but beyond that, they're staying mum about details.
A big part of the Hocken Library is on the move. 100,000 photographs, plates and negatives are being shifted out of the Hocken Library building at the University of Otago, and the library's archives will follow. They're off to a building in Leith Street, which was once the Ministry of Transport vehicle testing station. The move gives the Hocken more space, and the public will benefit by being able to search files themselves for photographs from Otago's past. The building will open on the 6th of June. Hundreds were on hand to watch as Dunedin Airport was bombed in a spectacular aerial attack over the weekend. Fortunately, the aircraft were friendly and the bombs imaginary. As Ellen Brady reports, it was all part of an exercise involving units of the Royal New Zealand Air Force, which have been based at Mamona for the past week.
Normally peaceful southern skies from Stewart Island to Tekapo have been echoing to the thunder of Air Force jets for over a week now. 10 Strikemaster aircraft from No. 14 Squadron at Ohakea are operating out of Dunedin as part of Exercise Falcon's Roost. Every day the pilots and trainees fly simulated bombing and navigation missions over unfamiliar South Island terrain. The exercise is designed to test the squadron's ability to set up camp and become operational in a location away from base. Yesterday, Dunedin people had a chance to see the Air Force in action at close quarters. The open day attracted a big crowd, with some people obviously anxious to be more than just spectators. The Strikemasters put on some spectacular flying displays, but perhaps the highlight of the afternoon was the noisy arrival of 2 Skyhawk jets. Exercise Falcon's Roost continues at Mamona until the end of the week.
Dunedin anglers were out in force at the weekend, hoping to cash in on the big run of salmon in Otago Harbour. For weeks, the wharves have been lined with dozens of fishermen enjoying the salmon bonanza, but this time they were after a bigger prize. John McDermott reports on the weigh-in.
A four-wheel drive vehicle was among the $34,000 in prizes offered by the New Zealand Salmon Anglers Association for its 2-day competition. Among the more than 500 competitors was a newcomer to the sport, Josephine Malloy, who was quickly in the thick of it.
The middle-sized one about 11:30, the big one about 1:30, and this one about 3:15.
62,000 tiny salmon have been released in the harbour in the past 2 years at a cost of $35,000. The contest will pay for more. The winning fish wasn't big enough to earn the car. At just over 9 kilograms, it picked up Peter Murray, an aluminium dinghy.
About all I can say is I'm happy.
And so it should be. Women artists from all over the country have responded to the recent cervical cancer inquiry with an exhibition of paintings in Dunedin. Their visual responses to the experiment at National Women's Hospital are on display at the Seifert Gallery. Kathy Graham took a brief look.
Some of the country's best women artists have contributed their responses. For each, it's been a personal and often painful task. Guests at the opening brought flowers in remembrance of the 28 women who allegedly died as a result of the unfortunate experiment. The works represent the artist's visual response. This is Marilyn Webbs.
The land is void. The violence that has been enacted upon it has severed it from fertility.
22-year-old Catherine Monroe evolved this response, Hidden Dangers, when she was diagnosed herself as having carcinoma in situ. Her statement explains.
Nestled in the hydrangea bloom, the pod, split open, reveals its protected seeds inside, the potential for life and bearing fruit.
Robin White's work is a response to her mother's death.
On Christmas Day, which was the day after my mother's burial, I went about the house recording the familiar details. The tall boy with a picture of my father as a young man, the dressing table.
Bridie Loney's painting, Internal Landscape, came after a friend was diagnosed as having cervical cancer.
It's about what she was losing, or what she was likely to lose, the joys of fertility, of women's sexuality, of the wholeness of the body, and the internal aspects of the body. That's really what it's about.
Shona Rapira Davies contributed this figure, Wahine Wahine. She's the current Burns Fellow at Otago University. And from another Dunedin artist, Angela Burns, Black Ribbon, White Light.
So the response is from the artists. It's for the woman who died, and it's open to everyone to come and take what they may from it.
Another chapter in railway history is drawing to a close. The workhorse of rail in the south, the DJ Locomotive, is off to the knacker's yard. Few will notice it's going, probably even fewer will care, but undaunted, Mark Price has prepared a final salute to the DJ.
Now, if this was the end of steam, it would be time for a touch of nostalgia, but it's difficult to be nostalgic about a Japanese-made diesel-electric locomotive. Still, the DJ has played a key role in railways in the South Island for nigh on 20 years. Apart from early problems with its Caterpillar engine, the DJ's done all that's been asked of it.
Well, they're a good shunt engine. They're a better brake for shunt movements. They have twice as many brake blocks to each wheel than the other ones, so they're a wee bit sharper on the brakes.
"64 DJs were imported, about half have packed it in and are awaiting the final indignity, the trip to the scrapyard. Most of the rest will follow as they break down.
They've been a good engine to work on, really. You know, they're comfortable in the cab. I think the crews will feel a certain amount of nostalgia, I suppose. The enthusiasts, I think they're enthusiastic for all locomotives, you know, not just steam, but all locomotives. There'll be a few there somewhere.
Their job is being taken over by the bigger, more powerful Canadian-made DX loco, each one worth about $3 million. Two of the new locos will pull a train that would take 5 DJs. But the lighter DJ will still be needed on branch lines like that to Central Otago and Wairio in Southland.
And that's it for tonight. Tomorrow night we'll have news on the nickel smelter progress, and there's some eye-catching, lifelike sculptures from America. Until then, good night.